The morning rain had a habit of painting the city in melancholy shades. It clung to windows like forgotten memories and ran down sidewalks like spilled secrets. I was used to it, the gloom, the gray, the grind. I was 31, overworked, underslept, and carrying a broken heart in a designer tote bag. Every morning at 10 a.m. sharp, I ordered the same coffee from the same cafe on Eastwood and 9th. A double espresso macchiato with oat milk, no sugar. A small comfort in a city that rarely gave anything without asking for a piece of your soul in return. But that morning, that one was different. As I stepped out of the cafe with my usual order in hand, umbrella angled just enough to dodge the cold drizzle, I saw him. A boy, young, maybe 11 or 12, barefoot, dirty, faced and draped in a ragged hoodie 2 sizes too big. He sat curled beside a trash bin, legs pulled up to his chest, a battered cardboard sign resting on his knees. It didn't say "please help" or "hungry" like the others I'd seen. No, his sign simply read, "Don't drink that coffee." Odd. I slowed my steps. The wind pulled at my coat like invisible fingers. I glanced at the cup in my hand, steam curling upward, innocent as ever. He looked straight at me, then eyes that didn't belong to a child. They were dark, deep, and haunting. There was pain in them, real pain. "You," he said, his voice coarse but steady, "don't drink it." I stopped. People passed me, umbrellas bumping, indifferent. I stared at him, confused, half offended. "What?" I asked, unsure if I'd misheard. He stood up slowly, his clothes hung off his bones. He pointed to the cup in my hand, eyes never leaving mine. "You were followed this morning. They switched it. That drink isn't yours." A chill crawled down my spine. "What the hell are you talking about? I'm telling you, don't drink it." "Do I know you?" I asked, my voice firmer now, masking a tremble I couldn't explain. He shook his head. "No, but I know them." There was something about the way he said them, like the word itself was poison. I looked at the coffee again, still steaming, still innocent. Then, impulsively, irrationally, I walked to the nearest storm drain and poured the entire cup in. The liquid disappeared between the grates, vanishing like it had never existed. The boy exhaled, shoulders dropping slightly. "Smart? What the hell is going on?" I demanded. He took a step back. "They'll notice you didn't drink it. Be careful. Don't go back to that cafe." Then he turned and started walking, disappearing down an alley without looking back. I didn't sleep that night. I wasn't sure why I listened to him. Maybe it was the way he looked at me, like someone who'd seen death too many times to be wrong. Or maybe some part of me, the part that had survived betrayal after betrayal, knew this wasn't random. The next morning, I didn't go to the cafe. Instead, your dreams. By 9 a.m., the office was in chaos. Marisa, my co-worker and until recently a close friend, had collapsed in the break room. Foaming at the mouth, paramedics had to carry her out on a stretcher. She'd stopped at the cafe this morning. She ordered my drink. I stood frozen, the cup in her hand still half full on the counter. I recognized the custom sleeve I'd asked the cafe to use for my regular order, a stupid little label with my name embossed on it. They'd made her my drink, or they thought they had. That's when it hit me. That poison was meant for me. That night, I waited on Eastwood and 9th until the last cafe lights shut off. The streets were empty. Rain whispered secrets to the pavement again. I was hoping to see him, the boy, the warning in rags. And just as I was about to give up, I saw him half, hidden in shadow, eyes watching me like a ghost, too tired to haunt. I took a shaky step toward him. "Who are you?" I asked. His answer was quiet but sharp, like a knife sliding into a velvet sheath. "Someone who used to trust the same people you do." The next morning, I walked into the office on high alert. I noticed everything: who looked at me too long, who avoided my eyes, who stopped talking the second I walked in. It was a Friday, but it felt like a funeral. Marissa was still in the hospital. No one knew what had caused it. Food poisoning, the doctors said. An allergic reaction, nothing conclusive. Bullshit. I knew better. I saw the fear in the paramedic's eyes when he examined the half-finished coffee. He whispered something to the other EMT, something about chemical traces, and the cup had my name on it. If I hadn't listened to that boy, no, I couldn't even finish the thought. I spent lunch in my office, blinds drawn. I watched the security footage from the building entrance. Something wasn't right. The timestamps had jump cuts 3 minutes missing between 6:57 a.m. and 7:00 a.m. just before I usually walked in. Why, then I noticed something else. Someone had accessed the security logs before me. Alex, my boss, the person who hired me 5 years ago, my mentor, the man who sent me flowers when my father died, who let me take time off when I shattered after my fiancé left me. Alex, kind, composed too. Perfect Alex. Why the hell was he reviewing that footage before anyone else? That evening, I skipped the gym and walked back to Eastwood and 9th. He was there, the boy, sitting behind a rusted dumpster this time, hood pulled over his face. I brought him food, warm food, real food, and a blanket. He looked at the items like they were relics from a life he barely remembered. "Thank you," he said, voice quieter than last night. "You didn't have to." "No, I did," I replied, sitting beside him on the cold pavement. "You saved my life." He looked away for now. That sent another chill crawling up my back. "I need to know what's going on," I said. "Tell me everything, please." There was a pause, then he nodded. "My name is Ali," he began. "I used to be someone, you know, someone with a home, a brother, a life." He stared into the distance. "Until I found out the truth." "What truth?" He looked at me again. "The one that almost killed you." Illy told me a story that sounded like fiction, until I realized every piece fit too perfectly. He used to live with his older brother, Jason. They grew up in foster care together. Jason got adopted by a wealthy family when he was 14. Illy never did. That family, the Haydens, as in Hayden Group, the massive real estate firm that my company partnered with last year. The Haydens were rich, powerful, untouchable, and their golden boy Jason, he worked directly under Alex. Illy said he tracked Jason down a few years ago, hopeful. But when he found him, Jason had changed, cold, ruthless. He didn't want Illy in his new life. I followed him, Illy admitted. I knew it was dangerous, but I had to know what he was hiding. And what he uncovered was chilling. Backroom deals, money laundering, extortion, blackmail. Hayden Group was a criminal empire wearing a corporate smile. But the worst part, they use people, Illy said. People like you, smart, ambitious. They pull you close, make you feel safe. Then they either own you or erase you. My stomach turned. They tried to erase me, he whispered, but I got away, barely. He looked up at me again, and now they're trying to erase you. I didn't want to believe him. But everything started making sense. The missing footage, Alex's strange behavior, the poisoned coffee Marissa, who likely drank a cup meant for me. I had worked with Hayden Group for 8 months, running PR campaigns, managing sensitive contracts. I'd seen things, overheard conversations that didn't make sense back then. But now it all clicked. I went back to work on Monday, silent and sharp. I played dumb, acted like nothing happened, smiled through meetings, but I watched Alex more closely than ever, and that's when I saw her, Kara. Marissa's assistant, quiet, efficient, the kind of person you forget is even there, except now, she wasn't just assisting. She was shadowing me, watching me, following me to meetings she wasn't scheduled for, asking questions that sounded harmless but weren't. They were making sure I was still under control, still drinkable. That night, I met Illy in an old train tunnel he called home. We sat in the dark, and I showed him everything I had, photos, files, emails. He took it all in like someone who'd spent years preparing for war. "You're in deep," he said finally, "deeper than I thought." "What do I do?" He met my eyes, something fierce and solemn burning in his. "You survive, how?" Illy looked at me, and this time he didn't sound like a boy at all. He sounded like a soldier. "We take them down, one by one, but we don't go loud, not yet." I swallowed hard, and until then, he leaned closer. "Don't eat anything, don't drink anything, don't trust anyone." That night, I emptied my fridge. The next morning, I walked into work with a calm smile and a hidden fire behind my eyes. They wanted a pawn, they picked the wrong one, because now I had something they didn't, the truth, and a boy with nothing left to lose. I froze. They set her up. She wasn't an accident. Marisa was a test. She had unknowingly walked into my role, picked up my drink, and paid the price. I stared at the email for minutes. My heart was thudding so loud I couldn't hear myself think. The betrayal burned, sharp and suffocating. They used Marisa like she was nothing, like I was nothing, and Alex had approved it. The man who once told me I was like a daughter to him. Illy met me outside a burned-out church that night. His hoodie was soaked from the rain, his jaw tight with quiet rage when I told him what I'd found. "They're getting desperate," he said. "They're moving faster now, because they think I'm close to figuring it out." He shook his head. "Because you're not scared enough. They don't want to kill you, Elena. Not yet. They want to break you." The words landed like bricks. "They want you to give up, sign something, walk away, or maybe worse." I thought of the dozens of documents I'd signed over the past few months. NDAs, project contracts, partnerships. How many of those had buried clauses? How many of them were traps? "They're trying to build something around you," Illy continued. "Make it look like you were involved. So when the bomb goes off, you're the one holding the detonator." My stomach dropped. That's why they hadn't killed me yet. They didn't want me gone. They wanted me guilty. That weekend, I went through every file, every email, every client record I had access to. It took hours, sleepless, coffee-fueled hours, and the deeper I dug, the sicker I felt. Millions moved between shell accounts. Fake development projects, off-book deals that bore my signature. One of the accounts listed me as a co-owner, a Cayman Island fund I had never heard of, supposedly created by Elena Maddox and Hayden Partners LC. They were setting me up, making me the fall girl. When the fraud exploded, and it would, I'd be the perfect scapegoat. Overworked, single, emotionally fragile, no family connections. The press would eat it up, and they'd walk away clean. The worst part, they'd planned this for months. Maybe longer. I saw it in the timing of emails, in the files Kara accessed, in the way Alex kept me just close enough to trust him, but never close enough to question anything. I'd believed in him, respected him, and he'd handed me the loaded gun to shoot myself with. Illy and I began making plans. We couldn't go to the police, not yet, not without hard proof, not with how deep Hayden Group's roots ran through city politics and law enforcement. Instead, we started building our own trap. Illy showed me how to set up secure data backups, how to mask our digital trails. We started recording everything, meetings, calls, emails. I used the knowledge I had gained over 5 years at the firm and turned it against them. I learned where they kept the paper files. I learned who their real clients were. And I learned that Alex didn't work for Hayden Group, he was a Hayden. Jason Hayden's cousin. Illy confirmed it when I showed him a photo. "That's him," he said. "That's who came to the foster home the week before I ran. He visited you." "No," Illy said, eyes hollow. "He came for Jason, and he brought him into the family. Said he was the better fit. Said I was a liability." I felt sick. So that was the real reason. This wasn't just about money. This was personal. Illy had tried to reunite with Jason, and instead, he'd been erased from existence, discarded like trash. And me, I was just another loose end, another liability they had to tie up, but they made one mistake. They underestimated the girl who'd already lost everything. I wasn't afraid anymore. They'd taken my trust. They'd taken my name. They tried to take my life, so I was going to take everything from them. On Monday, I walked into the office wearing my best smile and a wire beneath my blouse. Kara brought me coffee. I didn't drink it. Instead, I laughed, joked, and played along. I signed fake contracts. I nodded in meetings I recorded. I stayed late, copying files I wasn't supposed to see. And Alex, he watched me with the calm eyes of a man who thought the chessboard was already won. I smiled right back because I was about to flip the board. That night, I handed Illy a flash drive. "This is it," I said. "It has everything, enough to bury them." He looked at it, then at me. "You sure you want to do this?" I nodded. "I don't want justice," I said. "I want revenge." Illy smiled, the first real smile I'd seen from him. "Then let's burn the whole damn empire down. There's something poetic about revenge. It's not the explosion. Not the downfall, not even the justice. It's the silence right before, the moment when your enemy still thinks they've won. That thin sliver of time where you're smiling, and they don't yet know they're standing on a trapdoor." I was smiling a lot that week. The plan had 3 parts: collect proof, expose them, let them destroy themselves. Illy and I knew we couldn't fight Hayden Group with fists. This wasn't that kind of war. These people didn't get their hands dirty. They used contracts like knives, reputation as a gun, so we'd turn their own weapons on them and start with the weakest link, Kara. We lured her first. I accidentally left an unlocked document open on my desktop, a fake file showing that I knew everything. Offshore accounts, falsified partnerships, bribed city officials. Kara saw it, just as I knew she would. She panicked, called someone, didn't realize I had a phone recording in my desk drawer. Every word she spoke was gold. Yes, she knows. No, I don't think she's going to stay quiet. Should I tell Alex? We had her voice, her timestamp, her fear. It was the crack we needed. Next, we baited the hook for Alex. I requested a private meeting, just the 2 of us. I wore a wire, I wore a smile, and I wore the last lie I would ever tell him. He greeted me in his usual charming tone, all calm eyes and soft concern. "You look tired, Elena. Are you okay?" I wanted to scream. Instead, I sat down. "I found some things," I said carefully. "Numbers that don't add up. Transactions I don't remember signing off on." He smiled, faint, calculated. "You've had a lot on your plate. Stress does that." Then he leaned forward, dropped the mask just enough. "Why don't I take those files off your hands? We'll go through them together. You and me, like old times." I looked him dead in the eyes. "That won't be necessary." The next morning, I submitted my resignation. I expected retaliation, but it never came. That told me they were planning something bigger, quiet, final. Illy warned me to be ready. He was right. 2 days later, I received a legal notice. Hayden Group was accusing me of fraud, embezzlement, and misconduct. They had evidence. They had contracts with my name, transactions tied to my ID. Everything I feared was happening. Only now we were ready. Illy handed the flash drive to an independent journalist, a woman named Nina Price, whose career had nearly been destroyed by Hayden Group 5 years ago when she exposed a zoning scandal. She'd been waiting for her moment. We gave it to her. The files were pristine. Signed confessions from Kara. We got her to crack with a staged legal threat, audio of Alex's offer to handle the files, quietly financial records showing offshore laundering testimony from Illy, with dates, locations, and timelines. Only an insider could know, and the final cherry. Security footage from a backup server Illy had discovered in a forgotten server closet. The footage showed Kara switching my coffee order with Marissa's, clear as day. Nina released the exposé in 3 parts. The first brought media attention, the second brought outrage. The third brought the feds. Hayden Group collapsed in a matter of weeks. Their stocks tanked. Executives fled the country. Jason Hayden was arrested in the middle of a yacht party off the Florida coast. Alex, he tried to pin everything on his team. On me, on Kara, on anyone but himself. But the audio recording spoke louder than his lawyers. The day he was sentenced, I sat in the back of the courtroom. He looked over his shoulder, eyes full of disbelief. I smiled, slow and quiet. He knew then I had been the one who poured the coffee down the drain. Marissa recovered. She moved out of the city. I helped her find a new job through one of Nina's contacts. We haven't spoken much since. There's too much pain between us, even if it wasn't her fault. Kara, she turned state's witness. I hope she finds her soul again someday. As for Ali, he didn't disappear. 1 month after the trial, we stood on a bridge over the city, sipping 2 homemade coffees from chipped mugs. No poison, no secrets, just silence. They'll rebuild, I said. Companies like that always do. Ali nodded. Let them. This time we'll be watching. I looked at him, still young, still scarred, but stronger now. You never told me why you helped me. He shrugged. You looked like her. Who? My mom. She drank poisoned tea once from someone she trusted, didn't survive. I stared at him, heart heavy. I'm sorry. He shook his head. Not your fault, but now they won't do it to anyone else. I offered him a place to stay. He refused. I'm not meant for walls, he said. But I'll always be nearby. You'll know if you need me. And just like that, he walked into the fog, hoodie pulled up, vanishing like he'd never been there. Only this time, I knew better. He wasn't a ghost anymore. He was the reason I was alive. Sometimes I still pass Eastwood and 9th. I never drink from that cafe again, but I look for him, the boy with the sign, and sometimes I swear I see a silhouette in the corner, watching, just making sure I'm okay. He saved me, and together we brought down giants. All because he said the 6 words I'll never forget.